When must you wait at this traffic sign? When a railway employee is waving a white flag. When the level crossing cannot be crossed without having to stop on it. When a rail vehicle is approaching. When a railway employee is waving a white flag. What must you do when a traffic jam forms on this road? Drive as far to the left as possible. Drive as far to the right as possible. Continuing driving in the center. What is the recommended speed that applies to cars and motorcycles on autobahns? I carefully cross the tracks. I wait at the tracks. I wait in front of the level crossing. You are driving on the autobahn in light traffic. How long are you allowed to stay in the left-hand lane? All the time, provided no other vehicle wants to overtake you. As long as is necessary to overtake other vehicles. As long as you are driving behind a vehicle which is overtaking in the left-hand lane. What must you do when a traffic jam forms on this road? Remaining within my lane, I drive as far to the left as possible. Continuing driving in the center. Drive as far to the right as possible. Drive as far to the left as possible. What do you have to be aware of in this situation? In 200 m the width of the left-hand lane is going to narrow. Including its exterior mirrors, my vehicle is wider than the width specified in the vehicle documents. The left-hand lane is going to narrow for a distance of 200 m. What must you reckon with here? Denser traffic beyond the underpass. The vehicle in front changing lanes. The right-hand lane coming to an end. You want to leave the motorway. What is the right course of action? I reduce my speed now. I reduce my speed only once I am at the turn. I use the speedometer to check my speed at short intervals. I use the speedometer to check my speed at short intervals. You want to turn left. What driving line should you maintain? The right driving line. Both driving lines are possible. The left driving line. You are driving at the recommended speed on the motorway and want to leave it at the next exit. What should you do? I cease overtaking maneuvers in good time. I significantly reduce my speed on the exit lane. I significantly reduce my speed while still on the right-hand lane of the motorway. What must you anticipate in this parking area? Trucks that are incorrectly parked. People on the roadway. Vehicles emerging from parking spaces. I brake. I continue driving as far to the right as possible. I move into the left-hand lane. I move into the left-hand lane. I move into the left-hand lane. What must you be aware of here? It is not permitted to stop to the left of the boundary line of the carriageway. Slower moving vehicles must use the hard shoulder if possible. Driving across the boundary line of the carriageway is prohibited at all times. You are approaching a rail crossing. The barrier begins to lower. What should you do? I wait in front of the level crossing. I switch on my hazard lights. I continue driving if there is no train in sight. I brake sharply. I yield my right of way. I continue driving as before. What does this traffic sign mean? You must indicate when entering the roundabout. You must give way to vehicles in the roundabout. You must indicate when leaving the roundabout. You must indicate when leaving the roundabout. What is the right course of action now? I yield my right of way. I brake sharply. I continue driving as before. You want to leave the motorway. What is the right course of action? I reduce my speed now. I reduce my speed only once I am at the turn. I use the speedometer to check my speed at short intervals. What is prohibited when using motorways? Stopping on the hard shoulder. Performing U-turns. Reversing. What must you be aware of on this priority road? Parking is prohibited. You may not cross the lane marking. Parking is permitted if there is a clear space of at least 3 meters between a parked car and the lane marking. What must you reckon with here? Your vehicle could be blown to the left by the strong side wind. The vehicle traveling in front of you can be blown to the right. When overtaking, your vehicle is pulling to the right when you enter the slipstream of the truck. The driver of the yellow truck does not notice the start of the tailback in time. The motorbike drives between the lines of vehicles. The blue car pulls into my lane in front of me. The motorbike exits the motorway. The white delivery van exits the motorway. The red lorry in front of me brakes due to a traffic jam. I drive over to the right side as far as possible. I warn the driver by sounding my horn and flashing my lights. What does this traffic sign indicate? An autobahn section which is normally not used very much. An obligatory diversion for vehicles with dangerous goods. The place where the autobahn must be exited. I move over to the right-hand lane after around 200 m. I move into the right-hand lane now. I may overtake the vehicles driving in the right-hand lane. What do you have to be aware of in this traffic situation? I may cross the lane marking in order to overtake. Not cross the lane marking. Cross the lane marking if oncoming traffic permits this. Because of the truck. What do you have to observe in a traffic situation like this one? I may not cross the center line if this would endanger other traffic. Cross the center line in order to pass by the obstruction. Cross the center line in order to overtake. What does this traffic sign indicate? A cyclist's prohibited zone. A mandatory cycle path. Cyclists crossing the carriageway. Cyclists crossing the carriageway. You are driving on a section of road where a traffic jam has been reported. What is the right course of action? I apply the emergency brake assist to safely stop before the tail end of the traffic jam. I take particular care when driving around bends and on the approach to summits. I continue to follow the traffic reports. You are driving on a road that has several marked lanes going in one direction. When should the alternate merging procedure be employed? If one lane is not continuously free to traffic due to an obstacle. When a lane comes to an end. When a merging lane ends on the motorway. What does this traffic sign mean? Indication of existing overhead electrical wires. You must always wait when a rail vehicle is approaching. Rail traffic always has priority. You must always wait when a rail vehicle is approaching. Rail traffic always has priority. Which motor vehicles may freely choose their lane inside built-up areas? What do you have to be aware of when you see this traffic sign combination? A rail crossing at a distance of 240 m. A rail crossing at a distance of 120 m. No overtaking of vehicles permitted. What is especially important when choosing the speed for driving along tree-lined avenues with narrow roadways? It may be necessary to stop within half the visible distance when a wide vehicle is coming from the opposite direction. To estimate the lateral distance to the trees and oncoming traffic simultaneously. Rapidly changing light conditions make it easier to estimate lateral distances. When driving on main roads, which vehicles must use the hard shoulders where possible? Slow-moving agricultural tractors and machinery. mopeds, small engine motorcycles. I switch on my hazard lights. I slow my vehicle down. I continue driving in the clear lane. You want to use an autobahn. To allow you to do so, what type-specific maximum speed must be entered in Part 1 of the registration certificate or in the operating license. What do you do at a level crossing when the barriers are closed? If possible, switch on the side lights when it is dark. Use the road area and wait directly in front of the barrier. Wait before the St. Andrew's Cross without obstructing junctions. Wait before the St. Andrew's Cross without obstructing junctions. Where do you have to anticipate encountering rail crossings with no technical safeguards? In industrial zones and port areas. On less frequently used roads. On dirt tracks and forest tracks. Your car suffers a flat tire on the motorway. What should you do? Continue driving to the next exit. Turn on my hazard lights and park as far to the right as possible. Place the warning triangle at a distance of about 100 m. I reduce my speed further. I reduce my speed further. I move into the left-hand lane. I allow the tractor to pull into the lane. I reduce my speed further. What do these traffic signs indicate? A level crossing on the road turning right. A diversion avoiding the level crossing. The direction from which a train could come. What should you anticipate when driving out the exit slip road? People on the carriageway. A fallen load. A broken down vehicle. A fallen load. A broken down vehicle. Where is stopping prohibited? At bus stops. Outside parking areas on autobahns and clearways for motor vehicles only. Near or on sharp bends. You want to overtake the vehicle driving up ahead of you. What is necessary to allow you to do so? Observe the traffic to the rear and side of me. Considerably increase my speed. Use my indicator to signal my intention to overtake. Who is required to stop at a level crossing with a red flashing light in the form of an arrow point to the right? Traffic turning left. Traffic turning right. Traffic moving straight ahead. What is true about using the hard shoulder in this situation? The hard shoulder may only be used in a breakdown situation. May only be used by trucks. Must be used like a right-hand lane. What does this traffic sign indicate? The end of the Autobahn. The end of the clearway for motor vehicles only. Temporary closure of the Autobahn.